that could be.
Do you worry about this? I mean, everybody else outside the building is terrified that this technology will be used as a means of totalitarian control. It seems obvious that it will.
Yep.
But maybe you disagree?
If I could get one piece of policy passed right now, relative to AI, the thing I would most like, and this is in tension with some of the other things that we've talked about, is I'd like there to be a concept of AI privilege. When you talk to a doctor about your health or a lawyer about your legal problems, the government cannot get that information.
Right.
We have decided that society has an interest in that being privileged, and that we don't, and that a subpoena can't get that, the government can't come asking your doctor for it, or whatever. I think we should have the same concept for AI. I think
Something that really scares me about all this is that this is just words, man. It's just words. It's just a piece of paper. They say all this shit and they talk about they want to, but ultimately what the fuck you're still doing, you're still acting, you're still creating this thing. You're still taking us towards the singularity, the AI God. And you want to say, well, I'm really scared about this. Anyways, we're going to keep going full speed ahead. Yeah, I think we should have laws about that. Anyways, I'm going to murder my employee because he's calling us out on copyright issues. Okay. It just feels like you can say as much as you want. You could talk about it in writing. You could talk about the law. But ultimately, what is happening? What is all of Silicon Valley and the tech bros and the technocrats pushing us towards? And it's not stopping. It hasn't stopped one bit.
AI about your medical history or your legal problems or asking for legal advice or any of these other things, I think the government owes a level of protection to its citizens there that is the same as you'd get if you're talking to the human version of this. And right now we don't have that. And I think it would be a great, great policy to adopt.
So the feds or the states or someone in authority can come to you and say, I want to know what so-and-so was typing into the...
Right now they could, yeah.
And what is your obligation to keep the...
Thank God Sam Altman's there to save us from that.
Private.
Well, I mean, we have an obligation except when the government comes calling, which is why we're pushing for this. And I was actually just in DC advocating for this. I feel optimistic that we can get the government to understand the importance of this and do it.
But could you ever sell that information to anyone?
No, we have like a privacy policy in place where we can't do that.
Oh, thank God.
It would be legal to do it.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God Sam Altman has a privacy policy in place. Whew. I was scared there. He had nothing in place. Whew.
I don't even think it's legal.
Legal?
You don't think or you know?
I'm sure there's like some edge case where some information you're allowed to, but on the whole, I think we have there are laws about that are good.
So all the information you receive remains with you always. It's never given to anybody else for any other reason except under subpoena.
I will double check and follow up with you after to make sure there's no other reason, but that is my understanding.
Okay. I mean, that's like a core question. Yeah. And what about copyright?
Our stance there is that fair use is actually a good law for this. The models should not be plagiarizing. The models should not be, if you write something, the model should not get to replicate that, but the model should be able to learn from and not plagiarize in the same way that people can.
Have you guys ever taken copyrighted material and not paid the person who holds the copyright?
I mean, we train on publicly available information, but we don't people are annoyed with us all the time because we have a very conservative stance on what ChatGPT will say in an answer.
Right.
And so if something is even close, they're like, hey, this song can't still be in copyright, you gotta show it. And we kind of famously are quite restrictive on that.
Oh.
So you had complaints from one programmer who said you guys were basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
This is where it gets
also
spicy.
A great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was a friend of mine. This is a guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to, read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
Why does it look like a suicide?
It was a gun he had purchased. It was this is gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole medical record. Does it not look like one to you?
So gruesome.
No, he was definitely murdered.
Ew. Icky. He killed himself. Gross. We're not going to talk about this. He purchased the gun himself, and it was just gross. Yucky gun.
There were signs of a struggle, of course. The surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered
Wires were
takeout
cut.
food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal, no note, and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone, and then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms. So that's impossible. Seems really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I'm not certain.
He just says it. That's impossible. Seems like he was murdered. Have you talked to anybody about it? Hey, you're under arrest, bud. You're under arrest.
So,
And his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
do you believe that?
I'm
I
asking.
mean,
What?
you just said it, so do you believe that?
I think that it is worth looking into, and I mean, if a guy comes out and accuses your company of committing crimes, I have no idea if that's true or not, of course.
Right. We don't know.
and
We
then
don't
is
know. We're just
found
asking questions.
Killed, and there are signs of a struggle. I don't think it's worth dismissing it. I don't think we should say, well, he killed himself when there's no evidence that the guy was depressed at all. I think, and if he was your friend, I would think you would want to speak to his mom or.
I did offer. She didn't want to.
Oh, shit. Mothers always know.
Do you feel that, when people look at that and they're like, it's possible that happened, do you feel that that reflects the worries they have about what's happening here? Like people are afraid that this is like.
I haven't done too many interviews where I've been accused of like.
Oh, I'm not accusing you at all. I'm just saying his mother says that.
Kind of are, but.
I don't think a fair read of the evidence suggests suicide at all. I just don't see that at all. And I also don't understand why the authorities, when there's signs of a struggle and blood in 2 rooms on a suicide, like how does that actually happen? I don't understand how the authorities could just kind of dismiss that as a suicide. I think it's weird.
You understand how this sounds like an accusation.
Of course. And I certainly, let me just be clear once again, not accusing you of any wrongdoing, but I think it's worth finding out what happened. And I don't understand why the city of San Francisco has refused to investigate it beyond just calling it a suicide.
I mean, I think they looked into it a couple of times, more than once, as I understand it. I saw and I will totally say, when I first heard about this, it sounded very suspicious to me.
Yes.
And I know you had been involved in.
Well, his mother
You were asked
reached
to look
out
into
to
the
me.
case.
And I don't know anything about it. It's not my world.
She just reached out cold.
She reached out cold.
Wow.
Wow.
And I spoke to her at great length, and it scared the crap out of me. The kid was clearly killed by somebody. That was my conclusion, objectively, with no skin in the game.
And you, after reading the latest report,
Yes.
Like, look,
I immediately called a member of Congress from California, Ro Khanna, and said, this is crazy. You've got to look into this. And nothing ever happened. And I'm like, what is that?
again, I think this is, I feel strange and sad debating this and having to
I'm
defend
not
myself
even
seems
debating
totally
it, I'm
crazy.
just
And you are a
asking.
little bit accusing me, but this was like a wonderful person and a family that is clearly struggling.
Yes.
And
And
he said, yes.
I think you can totally take the point that you're just trying to get to the truth of what happened, and I respect that. But I think his memory and his family deserve to be treated with a level of respect and grief that I don't quite feel here.
I'm asking at the behest of his family.
Fucking
So I'm
idiot.
definitely showing them respect. And I'm not accusing you of any involvement in this at all. What I am saying is that the evidence does not suggest suicide, and for the authorities in your city to elide past that and ignore the evidence that any reasonable person would say adds up to a murder, I think is very weird, and it shakes the faith that one has in our system's ability to respond to the facts.
So what I was going to say is after the first set of information that came out, I was really like, man, this doesn't look like a suicide. I'm confused. This
Okay,
looks like...
okay, so I'm not being crazy here at
Well,
all.
but then after the second thing
He's
came
like,
out
well,
in
hang
more
on.
detail, I was like, oh, okay.
What changed your
I didn't
mind?
do it.
The second report on the way the bullet entered him and the sort of person who had like followed the sort of
He sounds like he's
likely path of things through the room.
asking him. The second report? I think, how the bullet went through. I think, right?
I assume you looked at
Tucker's
this
not
too.
going to
Yes,
give
he
him a
did.
way
And
out.
what about that didn't change your mind?
It just didn't make any sense to me. Why would the security camera wires be cut? And how did he wind up bleeding in 2 rooms after shooting himself? And why was there a wig in the room that wasn't his? And has there ever
Sam's.
been a suicide where there was no indication at all that the person was
was
suicidal?
Mr.
and just
Altman's
ordered
wig.
takeout food? I mean, who orders DoorDash and then shoots himself? I mean, maybe. I've covered a lot of crimes as a police reporter. I've never heard of anything like that. So no, I was even more confused.
This is where it gets into, I think, a little bit
Stuttering Sam.
painful, just not the level of respect I'd hope to show to someone with this kind of mental
I get
illness.
it. I totally get it. It's
People
just his
do commit
family
suicide
asked
without
me.
notes a lot. Like that happens.
For sure.
People definitely order
He
food
said,
they like
yeah,
before they commit
for
suicide.
sure.
Like this is an incredible tragedy, and I.
That's his family's view, and they think it was a murder, and that's why I'm asking the question.
If I were his family, I am sure I would want answers, and I'm sure I would not be
The
satisfied.
battle is the battle of virtue signaling here, right? Sam's like, we need to approach this with the gravitas that it deserves, and he was a friend to me. And then Tucker's like, look, his family is asking me to ask you, dude. I feel bad for his family. Oh, I feel bad for him. Well, I was his friend. Well, I feel bad for him. Who's gonna win?
Really, I mean, there's nothing that would comfort me in that, you know.
Right.
Like, so I get it.
Right.
I also care a lot about respect to him.
Sam expects him to pull off when he goes, look, he was a dear friend of mine. He was a dear friend of mine. He was a beautiful soul. I loved him. And I don't think you're approaching this with the right gravity. He goes, yeah, well, bitch, I'm asking on behalf of his fucking mom. Okay? She asked me to confront you, bum. You bum. Now tell me what you know.